Namo Buddhaya. Meritorious parents and dear children, today all of y'all have gathered through this online program to observe 8 precepts and to venerate a very special person who have helped us a lot by giving the gift of Dhamma, by giving the gift of the Supreme Buddha. That is our Arahant Mahinda. To venerate Arahant Mahinda and to spend the Poson full moon Poya day in a meaningful way and to show gratefulness to Arahant Mahinda. Today, all of y'all and all of us are learning and sharing the Buddha's teachings and practicing the Buddha's teachings, being grateful to Arahant Mahinda. Because of the Buddha, Arahant Mahinda was born from the Buddha's heart. We learn the Buddha's teachings from Arahant Mahinda. It was Arahant Mahinda visited Sri Lanka on a Poson full moon Poya day. And first of all, Arahant Mahinda was able to tame the king, taming a king and correcting a powerful person who is very influential, who is intoxicated with power, is not easy. But Arahant Mahinda, seeing the king for the very first time in life, and the king seeing Arahant Mahinda for the very first time in his life, just hearing few things, just having a small discussion, King Deva Nampiyatissa went for refuge to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. It's not easy to tame a king. It's not easy to correct a king, because a king is always powerful, intoxicated with the power, intoxicated with the fame. But Arahant Mahinda, who visited Sri Lanka on a Poson full moon Poya day, was able to tame the main person in the country, which is extremely difficult. Arahant Mahinda tamed the king. First of all, Arahant Mahinda was able to call the king from his name, calling him Tissa. Just hearing his name, hearing his own name from a person who have not seen before, that made the king surprised. King was surprised and amazed. And then the king asked, "Dear sir, how did you all come here? Venerable ones, how did you come here?" Then Arahant Mahinda said, "Not by roads, not by water." Then the king realized that they have come with the help of supernatural powers, with the help of psychic powers. Then the king asked, "Are there noble ones like you back in Jambudipa in India?" "Yes, there are a lot." Then the king got to know that Arahant Mahinda is a disciple of a Supreme Buddha. And then out of compassion, Arahant Mahinda has visited Sri Lanka to tame the king and to tame all the beings who were seeking for a refuge to escape from suffering forever. People were seeking refuge and protection from trees and stones and with various wrong views. For such a country, Arahant Mahinda was able to give the gift of the Supreme Buddha's teachings, give the gift of the Buddha, and show the right path to happiness and show the right path to escape from suffering. And Arahant Mahinda preached wonderful sermons. Arahant Mahinda preached the Chula Hattipadopama Sutta, then Asivisopama Sutta, Samachitta Pariyaya Sutta, then Balapandita Sutta, Devaduta Sutta, Vimanavattu Pedavattu, and many other wonderful sermons. So then that's how Buddhism was started in Sri Lanka. After 237 years of the passing away of the Supreme Buddha, after 237 years of the Mahaparinibbana of the Supreme Buddha, Arahant Mahinda visited Sri Lanka. And then, till now, we are learning the Buddha's teachings, being grateful to Arahant Mahinda, being thankful to Arahant Mahinda. We should be grateful to Arahant Mahinda. So today, I decided to teach a wonderful sermon, that is a beautiful sermon. The name of the sutta is Vammika Sutta from Majjhima Nikaya. So let's pay homage to Buddha 3 times and let's start listening to a wonderful sermon taught by the Supreme Buddha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. My homage to our teacher, to my teacher, most venerable Avasarai Kiribadgoda Jnanananda Mahathera, our Lokaswamin Vahansa. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear parents and dear children, and also the youth, the young adults, after hearing the Buddha's teachings, some wise people who heard the Buddha's teachings were able to praise the Buddha in many ways. Some disciples, after hearing the Buddha's teachings, were able to praise the Buddha, especially the disciple Upali. Upali venerated the Buddha and respected the Buddha and showed gratefulness to the Buddha and showed his confidence towards the Supreme Buddha by making 100 names to the Supreme Buddha. 100. He chanted 100 names with 100 meanings for those names to the Supreme Buddha. Without hearing those names from a Buddha, from anyone else, he was able to come up with 100 names. So, a Buddha is always great, immeasurable, and unequal to others. Unique. So, the disciples are also the same. They also become unique among other human beings. Why? The gift comes from the Supreme Buddha. They are born from the Buddha's heart. They are born from the Buddha's teachings. They are born from the Buddha's ideas. One disciple, this was a demon. A demon after hearing a Dhamma sermon from the Supreme Buddha. A demon, a murderous demon. A demon who used to kill, who used to empty villages, who used to kill countless numbers of human beings. Then to stop this evil deed, the Blessed One visited his mansion. The demon was Alavaka, demon Alavaka. I'm not going to teach the Alavaka Sutta, but I wanted to remind how Alavaka praised the Buddha after hearing a Dhamma sermon. Alavaka said, Blessed One, magnificent, Master Gautama, Magnificent, Master Gotama, magnificent. Just as a man were to set upright what was overturned. Just as a man were to set upright what was overturned. To reveal what was hidden. To reveal what was hidden. To show the way to one who has lost his way. To show the way to one who has lost his way. Or to carry a lamp into the dark so that those with eyes could see forms. Someone who is in dark, to see things, a person will light a lamp. Like that, the Supreme Buddha teaches Dhamma for the ones who are living in darkness. In the same way, the Dhamma has been made clear in many ways by the Master Gotama. I go for refuge to the Master Gotama, to the Dhamma, and to the community of monks. May the Venerable Gotama accept me as a lay follower who has gone for refuge to the Triple Gem, from today onwards, for as long as life lasts. Now today, at least as a veneration to Arahant Mahinda, and also by understanding the danger of being born and dead again and again, and at least by understanding that we were not born with the Buddha's knowledge, by knowing that we were just born without any ability of understanding the true nature of life, without the guidance of a teacher, at least by knowing that danger, by knowing that we could face that danger in a future birth, being born without knowing the real way to overcome lust, anger and delusion, and without knowing, and being born again and again without knowing about other worlds, without knowing the way to achieve Nibbana. We should have a strong determination, being grateful to Arahant Mahinda today, and being grateful to the Supreme Buddha, to the Dhamma, to the Maha Sangha. Today we should have a strong determination. We will go for refuge to Buddha Dhamma Sangha wholeheartedly. And then from today onwards, for as long as life lasts, we will protect our refuge. What's our refuge? We will protect our protection. We will maintain the protection. What's the protection that we should maintain? What's the protection that we should maintain? The refuge that we have taken from the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, and not breaking the 5 precepts. Have a strong determination. That determination is not something simple. So, before I started the sutta, I wanted to share what a demon developed in his mind. How a demon felt after hearing a sermon from the Supreme Buddha. Imagine how much human beings could develop after hearing a Dhamma sermon from a Buddha. The sermon I'm going to deliver is from the Buddha. So, today you are going to learn a nice sutta. The name of the sutta is Vammika Sutta. Vammika Sutta. Thus have I heard, Venerable Ananda says, in those days the Blessed One was staying in Savatthi at Anathapindika's monastery named Jetavana. At that time, Venerable Kumara Kassapa was staying in the dark forest. You call it Andavana. There a certain deity at midnight illuminated the entire dark forest, Andavana, illuminated the Andavana with great light, came next to Venerable Kumara Kassapa and stood to one side. The deity who stood to one side said to Venerable Kumara Kassapa like this: Meritorious monk, this ant hill gives out smoke at the night and burns at daytime. Now he is telling a nice story. Listen to this, first of all. Don't get confused. This ant hill, or you call it snake nest, gives out smoke at night and burns at daytime. Then a Brahmin says, now imagine, it's a story. Then a Brahmin says, why, wise man, bring a tool and dig the anthill. Now, a devata comes to the human world and meets a monk. And then this devata says to the monk, look, there's an anthill, gives out smoke at the night and burns at the daytime. Then, imagine, now there's a situation, then a Brahmin calls a person and tells him to bring a tool and instructing to dig the anthill. Now the Devata is telling this story. So when that wise person brought a tool and was digging the anthill, he found a long bar. Now the god is telling there's an anthill. Now then a Brahmin instructs another person to dig that anthill with a tool. Now that man is digging that anthill. Then he finds a long bar. Then the worker says, so, dear sir, there's a long bar. I found a long bar in this anthill. Then the Brahmin says, hey, wise man, dig more with the tool. The wise man says. Then the man was digging again. Then what happened? Then they found a frog. Then the man who's digging the anthill or the snake's nest says, sir, there is a frog. Then the Brahmin said to the worker, pick up that frog and take it out. Then dig more. Now after they found the frog, he's advising further, dig it more. Then when that wise person was digging again, he found that work is wise. He found a two-way junction. He found a two-way junction under the ground. Then the wise man says, Brahmin, there is a two-way junction. Then the Brahmin says, okay, pick up that two-way junction and move it aside also. Then the Brahmin again instructs wise man, dig more up. Dig more with the weapon, with the tool. Then when that wise person was digging again, he found an empty container. He found an empty container. Now see what they're finding under the ground, what they're getting from the earth. So there is an empty container. Then the Brahmin said, pick up that empty container. Pick up that empty container and put it aside, and put it aside also. Then he said, dig more. Now the Brahmin is telling the wise man, dig more with the tool. Then what did they find? Imagine, they found a tortoise. Then he says, sir, there is a tortoise. Then the Brahmin says, lift up the tortoise and put it aside. Then he dig more with the tool. Now we have found many things, right? A bar, they found a two-way junction, then a tortoise, then the container. Then he said, okay, keep on digging the ground. Then they found a sword and a butcher log. Finding beautiful things, right? Exciting things. Then they found a butcher log. Then the Brahmin said, lift the sword and the butcher log and keep it aside. We don't need that. Now Buddha is trying to explain. Buddha is trying to explain us from a story that was told by a god to a monk. Now see what happens eventually. Then the Brahmin says, hey wise man, dig more with the tool. Then when that wise man is continuing digging the ground, he saw a piece of meat. So there is a piece of meat. Then the Brahmin said, pick up that piece of meat and keep it aside. Keep it aside. Now not to keep or not to maintain or not to have it for himself, telling it to keep it aside. not to keep inside the pocket, okay? Then the Brahmin instructs the wise man. The man who digs the earth is a wise man. Dig more with the weapon. Dig more with the weapon. Dig more with the tool. When this was said, the wise person, he kept on. He continued digging. Then he found a king cobra, a Nagaraja. Then the Brahmin said, don't touch, don't mess with the king cobra. Don't fight with the king cobra. Then the Brahmin said, worship the king cobra. The Brahmin said, don't keep aside the king cobra, worship the king cobra. Then the bhikkhu said, dear meritorious. Then the devata said, dear bhikkhu, now you should take those questions and go to the Blessed One. Now this story was taught by a god to a monk, to our Venerable Arahant Kassapa Mahatera. Then after hearing these wonderful questions, these nice questions, then Arahant Kassapa, the questions are, what is this king cobra, then what is the bar, then the tortoise, all these things. He had to go and clarify with the Arahant. The venerable monk had to go and clarify from the Supreme Buddha. Then the Devata said, I don't see anyone in this world with its devas, with its maras and brahmas, in this generation, with its recluses and brahmins, with its gods and humans, who could answer those questions in a pleasing way without asking the Tathagata or a disciple of the Tathagata. The deity said, saying like that, he disappeared. Now, if I ask you these questions, if I were to ask you these questions and say, okay, that's enough for today, what would you do? So now, Venerable Kassapa goes to the Supreme Buddha to clarify these similes. Afterwards, when the night had ended, Venerable Kassapa went to the Blessed One. He went, worshipped the Blessed One, and sat down to one side. Venerable Kassapa, who sat down to one side, said to the Blessed One, Lord, Blessed One, yesterday at midnight, a certain deity illuminated the entire Andavanaya, dark forest, with great light, came next to me and stood to one side. Lord, the deity who stood to one side told me something in this way. A marvelous story. I can't figure it out. The snake nest gives out, the anthill gives out smoke at the night and burns at daytime. Blessed One, what is this? Blessed One, out of compassion, I need to learn. Blessed One, out of compassion, I would love to learn this from the Buddha, the meaning of these similes. Then that god told me that a Brahmin instructs a wise person to dig that anthill with a tool. Then they found a bar, a long bar. What is this long bar? Now when you think about a long bar, you might be wondering, what is this long bar? For what we could use a long bar? You know, back in the past, many years ago, in palaces, in houses, we did not have padlocks. After we close a door, to lock the door, there'll be two slots either side of the door, and a bar could be able to put in those hinges or in those slots, like two bars from the top and the bottom, and then with the help of those bars, the door will not be able to open easily, because the door is protected with two bars, and the two bars are held or protected. The two bars are held by two slots or with two hinges. So then a bar is something like that. Then the Venerable Kassapa explains the way that in the same way that the god explained to Venerable Kumara Kassapa. Then Venerable Kumara Kassapa explained, then a Brahmin says, wise man, why wise man, bring a tool and dig this anthill. So when that wise person brought a tool and was digging the snake's nest, they found a bar, then they found a frog, then they found a two-way junction, then an empty container, and also they found a tortoise, then they found a butcher log, then they found a piece of meat, then they found a king cobra. So finally the Brahmin told, Blessed One, finally the god told that the Brahmin has said the wise person to worship the cobra. Then the venerable monk asked the Blessed One each and every simile. Blessed One, what is the snake nest? What puts smoke at night? What burns at daytime? Who is the Brahmin? Who is the wise person? What is the tool? What does digging means? What is the bar? Who is the frog? What is the forked path? What is the two-way junction? Who is the tortoise? What is the sword and the butcher block mean? What is the piece of meat? Who is the king cobra? Then now Buddha is explaining one by one. Then Buddha explained, dear monk, the anthill or the snake nest is another name for this body. You know, anthills, there are openings. There are many openings, right? Like that this body has many openings. Eyes, ears, nose, the mouth, then the front and the back. Then there are 9 openings in this body. 9 types of impurities come out from 9 holes. Like a snake nest, like an anthill has many openings, this body has many openings, remember. Then Buddha preaches this body, which is caused by parents, grows up from rice and curry. It is impermanent, is scrubbed and cleansed, is rubbed and clean, belongs to the breakable nature. This body belongs to a breakable nature. What we delight. Now, the things that belong to us, we fight and struggle to maintain them. Then, if someone make nicknames for you, if someone bully you, if someone talk bad about you, you get angry at them and you fight with them, and then you fight for the belongings you have, then you struggle to protect your belongings without knowing that our life belongs to a breakable nature. We get attached to this body, we get deluded by this body, we feel sad when the body changes. Why? We do not know that this body is like an anthill. If someone can understand this body at least like an anthill, that person will not get angry, will not suffer from lust, anger and delusion, not from any of those defilements. At least if a person can understand this body as an anthill. See how much that God was wise. He has practiced Dhamma in a previous Buddha Sasana. So if we practice these teachings, how meritorious we could be. Then the Buddha preaches, this body has a breakable nature. This grows with the food that we eat. Then the Blessed One preaches, meritorious monk, we repeatedly think at night about what we should do during the daytime. On the night we think what we should do during the daytime. That is what you say gives out smoke at night. In the night we keep on thinking. We don't sleep in the night. No sleep. Stress, depression, we need medicine to sleep. Why? We are attached and we are trying to maintain and control the today and tomorrow and the future. We are not trying to live according to the true nature. We are not trying to live the way it's possible, but we are imagining the world the way we want, in a world that we can't maintain the world in a way we want. The people who expected many things, maybe like just imagine about 4 months ago, some people would have dreamt, would have been dreaming a lot about their marriage life, getting married, then visiting other countries, many countries, having many parties, buying buildings, then planning for many other things. But what happened because of the coronavirus? In vain if they were dreaming. They were not able to sleep, and nothing they got. Now all their hopes and dreams are all, what has happened? Faded away. Just with a small virus. Cannot be seen from the naked eyes even. If a virus like this can affect the entire future, can dispel all your dreams within a moment, if we can be aware of these things, will we keep on daydreaming? Will we keep on dreaming day and night for the things that we can't achieve? We should plan our lives, but we should plan our lives by knowing that even these plans can become unsuccessful, will not be able to fulfill. So if you can plan your life with the knowledge of the impermanence nature, then even if your plans are not fulfilled, even if your dreams will not come true, you will not suffer. So if a person thinks with a deluded mind, without knowing the Four Noble Truths, without knowing the impermanence nature, it's like smoking in the night. He won't sleep properly. Then Buddha preaches, meritorious monk, we think at night and work from the mind, body and speech during the daytime. We think on the previous day and we perform on the daytime. That is the way you say burns at daytime. Then in the daytime we think, oh, I couldn't do this today, I couldn't do that. Oh, I'm not getting what I expected, and then you suffer. Remember, we are depending on karma. Karma decides our life as well. Read the Girimananda Sutta, the factors that affect our life. Read the Girimananda Sutta. Learn the Girimananda Sutta. To learn how many factors are there to change your destiny of life. It's not always the karma decides your happiness. So while knowing these things, we should live a human life. Then when your hopes and dreams are not fulfilled, when you expect unexpected moments in life, your minds will be unaffected. Yet you will live happily. Why? Buddha preached, losing wealth is not significant, but losing wisdom is very significant. Losing relatives is not significant, but losing wisdom is very significant. Therefore, dear Dhamma friends, develop wisdom. So we learn up to burning at the daytime. So in the next sermon, after listening to another Dhamma sermon by another monk from a different sermon, from a different sutta from the Supreme Buddha, let's again meet during this program, throughout this live streaming done for almost 24 hours. Let's meet again to learn the rest of the sutta and become a wise person who will dig the anthill and realize the Four Noble Truths and abandon the attachment towards the body. And by remembering these teachings, may we have the opportunity to realize the Four Noble Truths in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo Buddhaya.